I'm in a season of stripping back and simplifying, and I just wanted to speak to this because it is difficult to put this into practice when there are so many avenues and so many different areas that we can go to for information, inspiration, research, and in the online space, it can just be overwhelming and busy. And showing up and creating content and being present and trying to stay abreast of current things that are happening and navigating parallel interests or things that we have engaged with in the past that we're still looped into, cutting back and unplugging and choosing to unsubscribe from things or to reattune the lens of focus to be more specific or more strategically aligned with your direction of travel comes with this kind of parallel process of taking inventory and maybe grieving or acknowledging, okay, I'm choosing to let go of that, or that no longer feels relevant or resonant with the person that I am or where I want this business to go, and that there are multiple strands and layers to that. There is you as a person in the kind of multifaceted complexity of all the parts that make up who you are. There's you in your role as a entrepreneur. Then there's the kind of practitioner lens. Then there's the research lens. There's the networking lens. There are so many channels, there are so many outlets or inlets or kind of two-way communication pathways, and it feels really, really important at the moment for me to be paring back and refining. And it's not about policing the information that comes in, but there is certainly an element of this which is also connected to time, resource, and energy management as well. And when prioritization is necessary, it means that there is a compromise. In order for one thing to have more attention, it means that something else needs to be let go of. And so in that respect, at this particular point in the year and the season that we're in, where things are being put to rest or are, taking time to recover before they renew again in the spring, it does feel an appropriate point in terms of the information and the inspiration that I receive from, the natural world, and trying to align myself more closely with those patterns and rhythms as helpful reminders and useful teachers to give myself permission to follow suit, because the digital space doesn't necessarily pay heed to that seasonality unless you're looking specifically through this kind of commerce lens. And I've spoken to this before in terms of this growing pace and trajectory now hurtling towards the end of the year that kind of comes with this pressure and this busyness, and that I do find for my own well-being and mental health, that I kind of have to actively resist that to some degree, and ensure that I'm checking in with myself more frequently, just to be like, am I getting caught up, even on a subconscious level, with that energy and that dynamic, and is that really what I'm about, or is that really what I'm engaged with or plugged into on a soul level? And that's always a really important question for me to come back to, because when we are working in a way that is acknowledging that we are looking at projects with a kind of a long-term trajectory, and that we are chipping away, that we're kind of slowly, steadily making progress on something, but that we're also acknowledging that it's something that is much bigger, than a 12-month outlook. It's actually stretching out in a kind of long and winding pathway before you. That long range view, in terms of how that brings you back into this kind of like strategic check-in place, is one that does help remind me of, okay, do I really need to be putting the foot on the gas right now in this particular area? Or, where do I direct my energy to, if we're talking about kind of conserving resources whilst things are kind of a bit more bare at this time of year? Then yeah, there's definitely a sense then of, okay, I maybe don't need to be pushing so much in this area, or I don't need to be completely allowing myself to be consumed with this activity when this is not in a season or a period of growth. So yeah, these are all aspects that I feel like are important to just begin to bring into a kind of end of year review. But I feel like I'm not even really being called to sit down in the way that I have in the past and like really get into the nuts and bolts of it and kind of like peel back every layer, because that in itself as a process is one that takes a lot of time and energy and capacity, cognitively. It's kind of demanding like an organizational energy, which at this point, in the season, that part is starting to kind of be like, oh, I feel like I want to be softer. I feel like I want to be more, coming into this nurturing, quietening space that is kind of tending to other parts of my energy and focus. And the more that I am holding space for and acknowledging a kind of heart-led and soul-activated way of bringing those parts of myself into business with less apprehension about what that means and what that looks like and how that might be perceived, the more then I can actually honor what comes up and be much more considerate of, okay, like what is true for me today and what is true for my energy today, and what is allowing me to progress and to develop in a way that is honoring myself in the most multifaceted, multidimensional way that actually creates room and space for all of my different parts and all of the different voices that want to be expressed through me at any given time in my current, season of development and to what extent am I allowing that to be the thing that actually guides me, plugging into, connecting with, tracking, being aware of these other factors and these other forces at play, but also bringing the reins back in to be like, okay, well, ultimately, who is guiding my process and my practice? And am I giving myself the respect and the responsibility of letting me be that person? And I think this is a really interesting question, when we look at things from a kind of business growth lens, where we're starting to draw in other partnerships and possibilities for collaboration and bringing in other perspectives about our direction of travel, for kind of consultation or cross-reference. What processes do we have in place to reconnect with the purpose and the passion and say, how do you feel about this? Because that is crucial, because that quality is what is translated and what is resonant or inspiring to other people that want to work with you and want to be a part of the process and development of your business. So to ensure that you are still nurturing that and honouring that and not losing connection or touch with that are kind of things that are really present for me at the moment. And and it feels in a quality that it's healthy. It's kind of coming from this place of feeling more assured, self-assured, and more confident in the decision-making processes and the instinct. That feels like a good place to be, in tandem with this acknowledgement of slowing down and titrating and just being a bit more reserved with where attention is going. It doesn't feel like that's coming from a kind of reactionary place of like, okay, I just need to focus and cut things off. And it's not like a knee-jerk reaction. It's very much like, this feels good. This feels like a decision that matches, the experiences and perceptions that are coming forward. That feels like the direction of travel into next year, paring back, refining, focusing with a kind of sharper, or the outcome of that, or the desired intention with that would be for kind of like a sharper arrow point to move things forward with. So that's kind of, I'm starting to bring in this like end of year reflection into a shared space. So I just wanted to do a little update in that sense. I will be no doubt checking in again, probably next month. But I hope everyone is keeping well as ever. If you've got any questions about the field of holistic voice work, about our offerings at True Voice Creations, our methodology, 5 elements of voice work, questions there, reach out to me. Again, invite you to have a look at the website, because that is the kind of central place for like information dump. The YouTube channel is full of resources as well, so be sure to have a look at that if you are kind of looking for your own personal research, self-study, get over there and check that out. And yeah, stay connected as well.